Hello and welcome. I am Marisha. Thank you for joining me. Ink smooshing and rub-ons. I think that's a great combination to create a card project. Let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to do some ink smushing. So I'm using Distress Oxides, Dusty Concord, Tumbled Glass, Shabby Shutters, and Crushed Olive to create two fun backgrounds. I will also be using scrapbook.com's heavyweight mixed media paper pad to create my backgrounds. First, I will smush tumbled glass on my work surface. I will then spritz the oxide with water and then use the cardstock to lift the oxide water mixture. In between the layers of application, I will apply heat. So as you see, I'm applying heat right now with my heat tool. Then I'm going to smush the cardstock in the water mixture and then apply more heat. This process will help build layers. I will now apply the next layer by using Dusty Concord. I am repeating the last steps by smushing the cardstock in the oxide and water mixture and just continuing to build those layers until I'm happy with my background. And here's a fun tip. You can build as many layers as you want, and you can also use inks instead of oxides. So if you want to apply one layer, that's fine. Two, that's fine, or even three. Normally, when I build three layers, I use a light, medium, and dark, and I start off by applying the lightest layer first, then the medium, and then the darkest color. Again, just play around with your project and see what you come up with. Now, I went bold with this one. I brought in picked raspberry distress spritz, love distress spritz, and I spritzed some of the spritz on my background panel. I thought, okay, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I want to try it and see. And oh my goodness, it turned out pretty good once I finished allowing the panel to dry and I cut out my flowers. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Now, off camera, I created another background with shabby shutters and crushed olive. So basically repeating the same process to create that fun background. As far as my distress spritz, I used antique linen for that, and I used that background to die cut the leaves for my projects. Next, I'm bringing in scrapbook.com's Flower Garden Rub-On Transfers and Ombre Paper Pad. I selected a sheet of the pattern paper and die cut an oval panel. I'm using the gold rub-ons to add accents to this panel. Once I'm done positioning the rub-ons on the panel, I will then create a sandwich using my die cutting machine platform. I will then run the sandwich through my die cutting machine, but you do have an option to use the popsicle stick that is included in this set or whatever you have on hand to varnish the rub-ons. And there we have it, my friends, a perfect rub-on transfer. Off camera, I die cut a panel using the Mosaic A2 cover plate die from scrapbook.com. I love this die. It is my absolute favorite. I will now adhere the panel to my A2 top folding card base. I will now adhere two oval die cuts together to create a frame for my project. I will then adhere it to my card. Then from there, I will adhere the panel to the inside of the frame. And then I had this sentiment die cut in my stash. It's from the Grateful stamp and die set from scrapbook.com. I'm adhering the sentiment to the center of my project. And then from there, I will bring in all of the flower die cuts that I created off camera. Look at that. That is from the panels that I created earlier in this tutorial. I used the Market Floral Blooms die set, one of my other favorite die sets, to die cut the flowers. I will now position the flowers on my card project, starting by positioning the flowers first and then the leaves. I added a final touch by adding a few half pearls and gold sprigs, making this card project complete. For my next card project, I die cut a panel using a piece of pattern paper from the ombre paper pad. I will then bring in my sentiment. This is from the Hello Spring stamp set from scrapbook.com. I will then bring in the rub-ons and play around with the placement where I want them positioned on this panel. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'll repeat the step as I did before by creating a sandwich using my die cutting machine platform and then removing the release paper. And here we have, oh, look at that background. I love these rub-on transfers. I will then add a piece of foam tape to the back of my sentiment, allowing me to have enough room to nestle my flowers underneath the sentiment as you see right here. To create these flowers, for my background, I used antique linen, saltwater taffy, and picked raspberry. Once I finished adding the flower clusters to this project, here is the final result. And I added a few extra metallic accents by adding gold half pearls and gold sprigs. And here's a look back at the first project I created. And let me know below, I want to hear your thoughts on adding rub-on transfers as accents to your projects and creating flowers by using the ink smooshing technique. Thank you so much for joining me on today. I appreciate you so much for stopping by. I thank you for subscribing, clicking the thumbs up button and the notification bell so you never miss out on new tutorials. I am sending you love and a whole lot of hugs. Until the next crafty project, please take care.